Hello, everyone, and welcome to Deconstructing Politics. My name is Tommy Mulcairns, and my co-host Eli is out today. Filling in for him, we have...
My name is Domino Williams. I'm the saxophone player on the Spotify song that just played. I don't know who did that. I mean, well, it was me. I know who did that. It was me.
Yeah, I mean, great job, by the way, Domino. I didn't even know you could play saxophone. I don't think you can, to be honest, but riffing is... Just coming up with that on the spot, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. Okay, I didn't make it, but, like, if no one's going to claim it.
Take it, exactly.
There we go.
Okay, so do you know anything about Mayor Eric Adams of New York? Are you a Mayor Eric Adams stan?
Eric Adams? Cop? Question mark?
Correct.
Well, then no.
That's why we love him. So I don't know if you've seen the news lately, but something's going on with him. They're coming after him for being a black man who is winning. How do you feel about that?
You know, they've done that to me actually.
Have they?
They've done that to me a lot actually.
Yeah.
You know,
I bet.
You know, I was at 100 points with Kobe against the Cavs on 2K14. Red ring of death on my Xbox right there.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
And this was the federal government that did this to you?
It must have been.
Yes, it must have been. Well, just like your red ring of death, Mayor Eric Adams, first sitting mayor to ever be charged. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. He took an unknown but large amount of money from Turkish nationals. Can't do that as mayor. So Mayor Eric Adams is currently, I think he just pleaded not guilty today, but he got free plane tickets, luxury hotel rooms, and a ton of money from the Turkish government. And the problem with that is that in New York, they have public matching campaign funds, so every dollar donated to the campaign is matched by the city. So taxpayers were basically giving him money every time he took money from a foreign government. Not great. Turkey wanted to build a 36-story building in New York, and then Adams pressured the fire department to sign off on the building, even though it wasn't safe. How are we feeling about this, Domino?
I mean, y'all just don't want to see him get his bag.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep it real with y'all.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, God forbid a politician be corrupt. You know, I mean that's what they do. He's doing his job.
Yeah, exactly. It's why they're also going after my boy Clarence.
Clarence Thomas.
They're going after my boy Clarence just because he, likes to sip Bellinis on a yacht.
Yeah. Yeah, and also, didn't he take money for a decision on a Supreme Court case? Am I wrong about that?
What's the point of getting elected if you can't take money on your decisions?
Absolutely. And, Supreme Court is not that important, so it's, low-level stuff. But the fire department was hesitant to let this building happen because there were 60-plus problems with the fire system, which you cannot approve a building with that. And then a Turkish national texted Eric Adams and was like, hey, remember when we gave you a bunch of money? You should help us out here. And Adams was like, I got you. So he pressured the fire department to sign off on this building. It went up. It's been built. And they found out about it because he was dumb enough to text them about it. They were texting back and forth. I think the Turkish national's exact words were, remember when we helped you out? Now it's your turn. And Eric Adams was like, I know.
Oh. And then I heard something like he somehow tried to delete some of these texts while in a hearing.
Tried to delete the text, and then when the cops asked him for his phone, he said, I forgot the password. And then they were just like, I don't believe you. He's like, I really did. And then they were still able to hack into it. And then I think the DA or whoever is prosecuting him was like, that was the lamest excuse I've ever heard. So just doing everything he can to avoid the accountability here.
Free him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think, too, Eric Adams has not been a great mayor necessarily, right? He came in as a cop. He was like, I'm the tough on crime guy. At one point, he called himself the Joe Biden of Brooklyn and the future of the Democratic Party, which, there were people who believed him, but I think he saw himself as this up-and-coming Democrat, and so did a lot of people, but he's had corruption scandals throughout his entire time in office. He lied about the cop. I don't know if you saw this.
What?
He used to have a picture of a friend that he would show at press conferences, and he would be like, this is my friend who got shot. And then the New York Times found out that all of it was fake.
Oh, shoot. I did hear this. I don't know why I thought it was the guy in, was it South Carolina, who's running for governor?
Oh, we can talk about that, too. That guy is awesome.
Yeah.
No, not him. That was Eric Adams. Yeah, I mean, both black men winning that media's trying to take down.
Yeah, you can't do it in this country.
What do you know about the South Carolina lieutenant governor right now, running for governor, Mark Robinson?
Mini soldier?
Yeah, mini soldier. Sorry, mini soldier. Put some respect on it. Yeah, what do you know about this story?
You know what? He got lost in the sauce. You know,
Elaborate. The sauce of what?
the sauce of you know that Key and Peele sketch, The Black Republicans?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
He used that as a roadmap for his political career. You know, he saw that there was a need. He saw the amount of views on that video, and he said there's a demand for this type of man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he said, I'm going to do everything in my power to be exactly that.
Do you think he did anything wrong?
I mean, well, starting off, he's running as a Republican.
Okay, so correct first step. You know?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, for one, why does he have an account on these websites?
Not only that, why does he name the sites that he has on porn accounts
Yeah.
the same thing as like his Twitter profile and like a bunch? Like he uses the same username on a bunch of different platforms. All the New York Times has to do was Google mini soldier, and they were able to find all of this stuff. Like, why does I completely agree?
Yeah,
why does he have an account?
Yeah, he and not. I'm sure they were free. I'm sure they didn't need a sign in. He goes in there and he puts his email in every single time, and then he comments.
Yep.
That's what's really deranged here. That should have been the first thing that should have set people off.
Well, before this, in like, I don't know, it was the early 2000s, he used to go to porn stores and then he would like rent out porns, and then he did not pay for them. He has a bunch of debt, and if I can't remember the name of the owner, but the owner of the porn store made a song about how Mark Robinson, the governor, is not paying him back. He's like, you owe me like $600, so he got a gooning debt.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I mean, absolutely crazy. So, like, I mean, he clearly has a problem.
He's gonna end up in Gooner's jail.
He is going to end up in Gooner's jail. But wait, do you remember some of the stuff that he was commenting on these sites?
Oh, I remember him saying that he's a black Nazi.
Yep.
That one was rough. And then I believe he has some weird obsession with his wife's sister.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he wrote some very, very detailed comments. I don't know if you saw this, about what him and his wife's sister would do. I think those are fake. I think he's just fantasizing, but, like, still a crazy thing to write about.
Yeah, especially when I tried to look this woman up, and it was actually kind of hard, but I did find her, and I might be wrong, but she looks just like his wife. So I'm not even understanding that on that level.
Oh, yeah, I don't think she has a sister, from what I've heard.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I think he probably just saw pictures of his wife, and he was just lying about it.
Okay, that would make sense. You know, I'm a great investigator. I'm a great investigative journalist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my question is, why are Republicans like this? Why does this keep happening? Why do, like, just the most insane stories about them doing weird things? Because he was also, like Alex Jones, right? They're both very transphobic. And Mark Robinson said, like, he's implied that we should be killing trans people and like LGBTQ plus people, and then it turns out that he's commenting on trans porn, being like, I love this stuff, you know. And like Alex Jones had the same thing where like trans porn was found on his phone. Why does this keep happening?
You know, honestly, it's got to be the mold. It's got to be the mold getting to them, just like it got to J.K. Rowling. You know, I bet if we were to raid his house, we would find some spores.
You think so? You think the mold is the cause of this? Because I think it's just that the Republicans are absolutely insane.
Well, they're all sporing out. Honestly,
they're sporing out.
They're sporing out.
Absolutely. And I mean, like, this also reminds me of the story of the University of Wisconsin chancellor. Did you hear about this?
Oh yeah, over in was it
Lacrosse?
Lacrosse?
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, shout out. I mean, he's kind of the coolest chancellor, to be honest with you, but he was making porn with, I think, just his wife, like very, very just like cool, normal stuff. And the Board of Regents fired him for it. They did like a whole investigation. Parents were outraged. I think that's insane. Let the man do what he wants to in his free time, you know?
Yeah, it is. I mean, yeah, it does touch on a bit of a puritanical streak that our country has had since its inception. I don't think there's anything more American than that.
So he was actually fired, and according to this article from the AP, Joe Gow, who had served as chancellor of UW La Crosse for nearly 17 years, argued last week that he should be allowed to retain a teaching position on campus. The university attorneys argued he was unethical, violated terms of his employment contract, damaged the reputation of the university, and interfered with its mission. What an insane thing to say. What do you mean he damaged the reputation? He made them seem cool, like the one cool UW school. I don't understand that. And also, like, the unethical thing, that kind of goes into the puritanical streak you're talking about. Like, there's nothing, his wife was consenting, nothing unethical about it. His students could go into it. Like, there was, you know, it's absolutely fine. But I mean, the Board of Regents is also insane.
Yeah, you're not often going to catch me defending a chancellor of any system, you know, especially one that, you know, we have had problems with in this city. But, you know, this is just, have we actually?
What's wrong with Mark Monet?
Mark Monet? We've had, you know, I thought y'all didn't like him. I'll be honest with you.
He did try, and during the encampments at UWM, he did try and send the police in to brutalize us. But, like, you know, we all make mistakes.
You know what? He probably had a couple spores in his house.
True.
All right. Friend of the pod, Mark Monet.
Friend of the pod.
You know, he gets a little spored out sometimes.
But so you're defending Gow, Joe Gow.
I think it's crazy to have to put it in terms of like defending a person or not. Like this is, it seems kind of wacky. It seems like a thing that they should have just like not talked about.
You think that they shouldn't have brought it up?
Well, I mean, I don't know the details. I don't know the details of like, was it something like, was he trying to get students to see it? Was he trying to get them to pay for it or something? If that was the case, then I'd say, yeah, definitely fire, dude.
No. So just to clarify what happened. So Joe Gow, and this is according to the AP article, Joe Gow has been on paid leave from his faculty position since the Regents fired him as chancellor in 2023, shortly after university leaders became aware of the videos, which were posted on pornographic websites. So he posted the porn. One of the university leaders was just scrolling through Pornhub, saw the video, and was like, oh my God, we got to do something about this. And then he got fired. And that made it become like a national news story.
I want to know about the guy who was scrolling and then reported it. I want to know which one pointed this out.
Yeah, because I mean, that's that's self-incriminating, bro. Why just keep quiet? No.
Yeah, never in a million years. Bro did not need to do that.
Yeah. So Gow is arguing that he's protected by the First Amendment. I think freedom of speech, does that apply? Is porn speech? We need the Supreme Court to rule on this.
I mean, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. So I guess Gow's videos themselves are legal, but they are not protected speech under his employment contract, which doesn't make a ton of sense to me. So if they are legal, he's a public university employee. Wouldn't they be protected? Like, how can his employment contract violate the First Amendment?
Yeah, I mean, of the contract law that I took, I'm pretty sure that if something you can't have as part of your contract. Oh, well, I guess no. I suppose you're right. I suppose I can see the ways that they could go through that.
Yeah, just another awesome line from this article here. Republican legislatures already view the UW system as a liberal incubator. Last year, as a liberal incubator is also crazy, just given like our pro-Palestinian work and how they treated us. Like, definitely not. Well, I guess actually, yeah, very liberal of them to be super pro-Zionist and want to brutalize students. Last year, they forced it to scale back its diversity initiatives. System President Jay Rothman has been trying not to alienate conservatives further as he seeks approval for an $855 million increase in the next state budget. Absolutely crazy, I think. One, the scaling back its diversity initiatives is insane. Like, the Republicans were so gung-ho about this. And I don't know if you saw, there was a story, I think it was Harvard, but the same group who sued to get affirmative action erased is now countersuing because the number of Asian students dropped in these schools. Yeah.
What?
Backfired.
It's just it's over and over. It's leopards ate my face, you know.
Well, I mean, it's because they were saying that like affirmative action basically only impacts black people and people of color, and it was insane for them to be like Asians are not included in affirmative action. Like, of course they are, right? Like, they're, immigrants have not exactly been treated great in this country. They're going to need a little bit of a. Then they're not going to have the same opportunities as white people, so you need something to counter that. So for them to think like, oh, you know what, like, we're smart, we're good at math, like, that's kind of racist of themselves.
Totally, it's that model minority mindset. The way that they view them differently than us. It is. I can see the way they think that way.
Yeah, model minority. Talk more about that. That's really interesting.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know who coined that term, but it always brings me back to like the LA race riots and like the rooftop Koreans sort of thing. Where,
What?
do you know about it?
No, I don't know about this.
Oh, okay. That's a whole pod right there.
Let's go.
You know, pretty much there was a lot of Korean shop owners in this community, this very Korean community
North or south?
in Los Angeles. Huh?
North or south Koreans?
One of them?
One of them was north or south.
You know what? Let's just call it all Korea, actually.
Yeah.
You know what? We can actually start talking about Korea if you want.
Yeah, United People's Republic of Korea.
Oh, yeah. But pretty much it was during the LA riots. There was a lot of Koreans on rooftops of businesses with rifles, kind of threatening people away from the community. I don't know if they actually ended up shooting and killing anybody, which I guess I'm showing my age there. But I know that a lot of conservatives will reference them as, sort of this model minority, like they're the good ones, and it's oftentimes used as a sort of cudgel against black people and everybody else as, look at them, look at the way that they behave in these crises, look at how they are concerned about their communities. Why don't you act like that? So it's something that I've experienced definitely, where they will definitely pull that and say, be like that, while in the same way they're kind of dehumanizing a lot of those people.
So I mean, is it like the purpose of it basically is to be like to ingratiate yourself with the like white supremacist American system? Is that like to be like, no, we're actually one of you guys, the white people, not one of these like scary black people?
Yeah. It's this assimilationism that they push on a lot of people, and sometimes it does work, but a lot of other people say, hey, I don't have the opportunities because you still look at me as way more other than them.
Well, yeah, and I mean also like separating yourself. If you think that the white people, they may ally with you when it's against black people, but like if you think that they're not going to like turn around and come for you when this great replacement stuff comes to you, like you're not going to be considered white, right? Like there's just nothing you can do to, I think, be a part of that like very, very slim political definition of whiteness,
Yeah.
So all they're doing is throwing people under the bus in hopes of saving themselves, and then when the time comes, no one's going to be left to ally.
Yeah, they're like, it's going to get to the point where they start, kicking out other white people. It's going to get to that point where they get to such minute trying to separate each other back into old like European lines that don't exist in America.
Right.
And a lot of people from Asia or anyone else who they decide is a model minority of that day, they are not going to survive that level of scrutiny.
Yeah. I think I'm going to be one of the first white people to go. I'm Irish, German, and Italian. All three of those are swarthy, according to Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah. And that's oh wait, no, you're not a triple Catholic though.
Double Catholic.
Catholic.
Yeah, both my parents were Catholic. I grew up. I always say I'm culturally Catholic. I'm not, I'm not a practicing Catholic, but like grew up culturally Catholic. But I mean, speaking of the Irish, actually, and their support for Palestine. So Israel has been attacking Hezbollah a lot recently. So what do you think of Israel just talking about constantly wanting to defend itself and then also just bombing anyone around them and causing as many wars as possible?
It sounds like something that like it's almost like schoolyard type of behavior,
Yeah, with bombs.
Yeah, exactly. And the way that I don't know if you guys talked about the pager attacks.
A little bit, but I'd love to hear your take on it. So, and just to clarify, Israel had used some company to like load up a bunch of pagers because after October 7th, all of the Iranian proxy groups, Hamas, Hezbollah, switched to pagers instead of cell phones, and Israel was able to somehow get explosives into these pagers, and then I think it was last week they detonated all of them, killed a 9-year-old girl. A bunch of these Hezbollah members were in public, and it was one of like the least coordinated attacks, which is really funny because all of the media was like, this was a very precise attack. Again, 9-year-old girl was killed. People were in grocery stores. If someone had been on a plane, God forbid, like, you would have taken down the entire plane.
Yeah, it was pretty insane. I saw a couple videos, and they were disturbing to say the least. And my first thought is, America would do this. Mm-hmm. Like, America would do this. America would do this on our own soil. And I know I don't have any reason to actually stress about it, but it's like, you know, we're in the world of, like, you know, the game Watch Dogs. Mm-hmm. We're in that world now.
Yeah.
We've crossed that threshold.
Well, I mean, at some point, it's on America. Like, they just refuse to rein Israel in, right? Like, Israel is nearing World War III. Like, that is what happens if Israel and Iran and its proxies go to war. Like, there is it's a cascade effect. Everyone will be dragged in. It will be enormously consequential, and there is a chance of nuclear weapons. Like, I think Israel has been given enough leash and has kind of gone off the deep end enough where they're constantly escalating that they may be the first ones to break the no nuclear agreement. Like, I think that they might use thermonuclear weapons, which are like very targeted nuclear weapons on a battlefield, but like those are still nuclear weapons. And it's America's fault, right? Because Biden and even now Harris just refuses, and of course Republican Party isn't going to, refuses to say, hey, we're not going to keep giving you billions of dollars if you don't do this stuff, right? Like, we are completely in Netanyahu's pocket.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, other people have said it before, like, we're in a situation where we have tied ourselves to a state that's going rogue. And I think we are too tied in to escape whatever direction that they are going. And I think Biden and Kamala, not Kamala. I saw what you did to Eli.
It's not that hard to pronounce. Eli refuses to pronounce it correctly.
I saw what
I don't know
you did.
why.
You will not do that to me. But it's like there needs to be an off-ramp for this, and it seems like they just don't care to do it.
No, not at all. Which is crazy because, like, what is Israel's plan, right? Like, I mean, if America becomes involved in any of these wars, which they did just send troops, they already had, like, a couple thousand, tens of thousands of troops stationed near Israel and Palestine after the war, after Israel started genociding the Palestinians. They sent more now. So, like, what you're doing, Israel, is tying up America's resources, which you rely on, which you need. But at this point, I don't know if Biden would put America, like, if we needed to use money and Israel was asking for money, I think we would just give them the money that we needed, you know?
Yeah, totally. And it's like, especially with the way that we retreated out of Afghanistan, which a lot of people, you know, they had positive and negative feelings about that. It's almost like we couldn't abide not spending that money for this long. Mm-hmm. We needed somewhere on the other side of the planet to throw as much money as we can to make sure that those Lockheed contracts and those Raytheon contracts keep getting fulfilled.
100%. I mean, that is such a good point. And I think, like, part of it too, obviously, is that America's undying support for Israel has to do with their material interests. And then the other part of it is that America just, like, loves going to war, loves feeding, like you're saying, those defense contracts. I don't know if they realize, you know, those defense contractors are going to be making bank during World War III. It won't matter much, you know. So it's like what is the payoff here?
Yeah, I think I don't know if you've watched the new Fallout TV show.
I have not.
Oh, I don't want to spoil it for you too much, or for the people who are listening. You know, all 10 of y'all, if y'all haven't seen the Fallout TV show, I'm not going to ruin it for you, but I think a lot of these companies they're people who have bunkers somewhere in Montana or the Dakotas where they're going to hunker down and they're ready to come into the next, whatever is left after, you know, nuclear war. They're going to come into it with all the resources to essentially be monarchs again. Yep. You know,
bring back inbreeding. I've been saying this.
Yeah, and they will. You know, if society were to collapse, they're going to have all the resources to be in an even better situation than they were under capitalism.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Although then they won't have anyone to exploit for profit. You know.
Yeah.
What do they do?
But you know, when you see, like, I mean, I don't want to get all tinfoil hat. But, like, when you see these people who are building these underground complexes that are just full of resources and weapons, you can only think they're hedging their bets in every direction. Some of them want to go to the moon, some of them want to go to Mars, some of them want to go to underground. But I think a lot of these people think, well, they know that when things get really bad, it's going to be us that die off.
Yep.
And they're just getting ready for how they're going to squabble amongst each other in the next phase.
Right. 100%. And I think that like this is another like the politicians are controlled by a lot of these same people, right? And I think that this is another reason why they don't really care that much. I think it's that, and it's like short-term thinking. But speaking of not caring that much, and kind of on what me and Eli were talking about during our last show, just now it was put out. Harris is expected to call for stronger border crackdown during visit. What do you make of this left wing, quote unquote, the Democratic turn towards Republican immigration policy?
I hate it. As somebody who has worked, and that's how I got my start as a kid, is working in immigration. Yeah, for Border Patrol. No, working with, shout out Voces de la Frontera. Working against the Muslim ban. That was my first big action, was protesting the Muslim ban and trying to get people together for the Day Without Latinos. It really, really sucks because back then I still saw the Democratic Party as not like a savior, but at least a potential ally in that type of struggle, which it's just showing that, we can't rely on them for very much anymore these days. I don't think we really could before. Yeah. But they know that we know now, so they can go full mask off.
I mean, they've given up on trying to court the left in any way, right? I think in 2016, you saw a lot more of like Hillary trying to make concessions, trying to bring in the left flank. I think they've completely given up. I think you're absolutely right. Like, they just don't need us. And well, it's not that they don't need us. I think they do need us. And I think that if they lose the election, it's going to be because of their stance on Gaza and the border, and they're completely killing all the energy in their base, right? Because like the base is relatively left wing. The majority of Americans are pretty left wing when you talk to them about policy. So all you're doing is you're taking these really popular policies, saying, I don't want to do this. I want to appeal to these like very few centrist voters who might go either way. So I'm going to wrap my entire politics around this idea. But just some more context on this. In her first visit, this is according to the New York Times, in her first visit to the U.S.-Mexico border, since she became the Democratic presidential nominee, she's expected not only to vow to keep in place Mr. Biden's executive order limiting asylum at the southern border, but also to propose a plan to toughen it, making it more likely to remain in place for the future. So they're like trying to cement Republican policy at the border, which is crazy.
I think like they're trying to. She, during their debate, seemed like she was trying to out like Warhawk conservative Donald Trump.
Right. Yeah.
Like the way she was talking about China, like, it's weird. I was waiting for her to pronounce it just like he does. The way she was like, he sold them microchips.
Yeah.
It's like and that one I hate that so much. And then the border and fracking even. Like, I don't know, I feel like this must be a part that I missed when Democrats became pro fracking.
Yeah, well, I think Republicans moved very far to the right, and then the Democratic Party just kind of filled the space of the old. Like, I think the Democratic Party is much closer now to the like Mitt Romney style Republican Party of 2012 than it is to any type of left wing party.